Good morning, Kevin.
Morning, Bede. What are we talking about today?
Okay, what we're going to do is we're following on from the last time, and what we're going to look at is this whole question of what does it really mean to live in Ishvara's world?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean? And we're going to really tease that out, because normally speaking, according to Swami Dayananda, we're living in our own little world. We're involved with ourselves. We're not involved with life as it is. We're involved with ourselves, and this self-involvement constitutes our everyday experience, and that's what I want to talk about. Okay. Now, I've mentioned this before, but he was asked a question once. You know, the classic student guru question: what is the meaning of life?
Mm-hmm.
And he answered it, and he said, well, you know, obviously the meaning of life isn't to die, it's to live. You know, so far so good. But then he said, what I found the most extraordinary thing, he said, but the important point is, what does it mean to live? And then he said something. He said, you're only living if you're alive to facts. You are only living if you are alive to facts. Now, this is what I really want to explore and tease out. Like, what does it mean to be alive to facts? And what are the necessary conditions, if you like, for us to actually be alive to facts? That's what we're going to go into this morning. Okay? But I want to read something first. He says here, this is in The Value of Values. And he says here, when I am split, I cannot fully enjoy anything. So he's talking about a split within me. You see, when Swami Dayananda talks, he's always talking about you. He's always unfolding your life before your eyes. That's what he does. So he says here, when I am split, I cannot fully enjoy anything. I cannot enjoy food unless the mind is on the food. Okay, so he's just talking about the simple action of eating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he says here, the relationship between thinker and doer perhaps is more recognized in the Indian traditions than it is in the West. So he's talking about the relationship between the thinker and the doer. Okay? In India, the mother instructs the child, don't eat, don't talk. When you are eating, eat. Talk later. Now, when you are eating, eat. Okay?
Yeah.
In the West, talking is mixed with eating. Only the first spoonful of food is appreciated. Okay? The rest of eating becomes mechanical. You know what mechanical means? It just happens all by itself on automatic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Not conscious doing.
No, there's no conscious doing, no. No being alive to what you are doing. Okay? We eat and talk, and then we find that we cannot eat anymore. We infer the meal was good. We infer the meal was good. In other words, we have an intellectual idea. Well, that was quite a good meal. I had quite a good time about that. Okay?
But we weren't mostly there. we're off in our thoughts, you're saying.
Yes, I'll just go. We have eaten a sufficient amount. The thinker was not present while eating. Now, this is the important point here. The thinker was not present while eating. So what you have is you have the thinker, and you have the the actual thing that you are doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Too busy thinking about what to be said next. This kind of eating is mechanical and is often uncontrolled, whereas eating when the thinker is there alongside can become an enjoyable ritual. The quality of my life always suffers whenever I become a split. To appreciate the beauty of life, really to be available to enjoy its comforts, I need to be together. Together is a good Western expression which shows an intuitive appreciation of the problem of split. Okay? Now, I just want to go into this. Okay?
He's saying that myself as a thinker and myself as a doer.
Could you speak up, Kevin?
So he's saying that myself as a doer and myself as a thinker need to be together.
If you are not, if myself as a thinker and myself as a doer are not together, I am not alive to what is going on. I am not alive to facts. And if I'm not alive to facts, I am not living. Now, when we look at what living means, first of all, living is doing, isn't it? It's what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's an action that's performed. And what we want to do is we want to be alive to that living. We want to be alive in that living. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, it's a very interesting thing. When you look at when you're actually eating, right? So what happens is, right? What he says is that you bring your mind to what you are doing. To what you're doing. Now, have you ever noticed that you can be doing the dishes, but while you're doing the dishes, you're thinking of something else?
Yep.
Now, isn't that interesting? You know, the doing, the action, the actual doing, which is what you're actually doing, that is your actual living, right? Is that you're doing the dishes. But yet you're caught up in your mind, thinking about things.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a tremendous split, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not living.
I think I'm conscious when I'm doing that.
I don't even know that I'm conscious. It's just that I'm caught up in myself. Now, the interesting thing here, this is the difference between the conceptual or the notional and the actual being alive to facts. There are two things here.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to go back to that very traditional metaphor that they use in India about the snake and the rope. Now, when I'm actually facing a snake, when I'm facing what I think to be reality, when I'm thinking that what I'm facing is a snake, is that actually being alive to facts?
No, because you have an idea about reality which isn't true.
That's right, but you're not aware that you have an idea about reality.
No,
as far as you're concerned, you are having an experience in front of you that you take to be very true. Is that right?
Yeah.
So you're caught in a notional world, a conceptual world, a concept. There is a snake in the corner. So it's a conclusion, isn't it?
Yeah.
A mental conclusion that has been projected as experience. And also, not only that, you're not only seeing a snake, but you're also being an afraid person.
Yeah.
And you can describe this. Yes, I'm afraid now. Now, again, I am afraid. That is a conceptual notion, a thought that I'm having about myself, and I'm taking myself to be that thought. I am an afraid person. And I'm experiencing myself as that concept, aren't I?
Yes, you don't think the experience is very real.
Yep.
And you don't think it's an idea, you're having an idea. This
nope.
is very much my experience.
This is my life. But the basis of my experience is conceptual or notional, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, and so I'm enclosed in it, aren't I, when I'm looking at the snake?
Yes, I don't know that, but yes, I am.
No. And the same thing happens with our lives. You see, when we look at our lives, what's actually happening in our life, we have mental and emotional reactions. Is that true? They just come automatically. Okay? Now, the coming of the mental reactions is not a problem. They are an appearance. Like if I scratch the blackboard, do you feel that, Kevin?
Okay.
The sensation, it's unpleasant. Imagine me running a spade along the concrete. It's an unpleasant, and you can feel the sensation in your body. It's a natural reaction, isn't it? It just gets triggered. When I talk about it, it gets triggered. The same way when I look at my thoughts and feelings, I react. In other words, I become a thinker who's not happy with what's happening. I become an unhappy, resisting thinker about my thoughts and feelings. Or I might be happy. The reaction is when this I reaction that automatically comes, this sense of myself that automatically comes into operation, can be positive or negative, can't it? It can be pleasant.
Sometimes I feel good about myself, and sometimes I'm feeling bad.
Or I can feel bad about myself. But there's always the piggy in the middle, isn't there, who's experiencing like that?
Yes.
Ego inflation or ego deflation. Same when we're dealing with people. They do and say things all the time. Is that true?
Yeah.
And we react. In other words, what I mean by react, I don't mean having the thoughts and feelings. I mean we react. We come into existence as a reactor, as a thinker, who's either happy, elated, or unhappy. Would that be true?
Largely, yes.
Yep. And the same with events that happen to us. Now, when I'm involved with this kind of thing, I am not being alive to facts. Because just like the snake, I say, this is terrible, I can't stand this, I don't like this, this is horrible. All of those notions are like they're like a film in a movie projector that projects experience continually. Okay?
Yep.
Now, when you're in this movie, in this story, if you like, the story of myself, Bede, myself, me, and I, when I'm self-involved, I'm not in contact with anything, actually. I'm not in contact. I'm not alive to anything. I think that I'm alive to everything, but I'm actually caught up entirely in this conceptual bubble, this notional bubble. Now, the only thing that collapses that bubble is contact with what is. Now, we must get this clearly. The only thing that makes the snake and the person who's afraid of the snake disappear is contact with the rope, isn't it? Being alive to facts. Now, it's a very interesting thing when we look at our psychological life. We're completely involved and caught up in our psychology. Now, Western psychology takes the person who's suffering all of this way very seriously. They try and help the suffering person. Now, Swami Dayananda says a very interesting thing, that Western psychology hasn't got the solution. And because they try to make the person who's suffering happier, they believe that the person who's suffering, this isolated thinker who's having all sorts of dreams about life, who's caught up in a conceptual, illusory world, what Swami Dayananda calls subjectivity, they try to help that person. So it's first thing that Swami Dayananda says, well, Western psychology, it doesn't have the solution. But then he says a remarkable thing, but Vedanta, we don't have the problem. Because it's not considered, the problem is not considered, it's like a mirage. I'm having an experience of myself as a person who's afraid of snake, of the snake. But that experience of myself is notional, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Like when I'm thinking of myself as a loser, I'm looking at myself like I'm looking at a snake, and I consider that's the problem. I am a loser.
And you take that for real. I take that for real.
I'm having an experience of being an illusion, so that the basis of my identity, the basis of my experience of myself, the basis of my sense of myself is notional. And given that I actually take myself to be a loser, then I'm going to feel miserable. But if I have a notion of myself as a winner, I'm going to feel incredibly elated. I'm going to have a delicious feeling about myself. But the only reason that it's delicious is it's the opposite. It protects me against the experience of being a loser. That's why I want to be a winner.
So you're driven to have these I'm driven to have these type of ego-inflating notions.
I will always consider that ego satisfaction is happiness. That's a fundamental problem with human beings. We believe that ego satisfaction, a bloated sense of ourself, in the sense of being, I love being this way, we consider that this is happiness, yes. Okay, so now, but what we want to do, what Swami Dayananda says, is that in this, being enclosed in this subjectivity, not even God can help you. Now get this, he says, not even God can help you in this condition. Isn't that interesting? So what we need is, well, how can we collapse this condition? How can we make this experience, the subjective experience of myself, and hence my world, how can we make that experience of myself as a suffering, struggling, resisting person we don't want to fix it. We don't want to modify it. We don't want to improve it. What we want to do is we want to make it disappear.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to disappear as a suffering person.
Mm.
Now, this is an incredible thing that he unfolds, that right here, right now, there exists a possibility, if you're unhappy, to disappear as this unhappy person. Now, isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Okay, now this is what we're going to look into, and we're going to show the relationship between that and being alive to facts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay, now, and we're going to look at eating, but just before that, I just want to say something about living.
Mm.
Living is a verb. At any one moment, is it true that I'm doing something?
Yeah.
Now, my life actually consists, my living consists of what I am doing. Now, the little thoughts and feelings that happen in my head are not really, they become all my life, but basically my actual living is what I am doing. Would that be true?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and what I'm doing, is that a theory?
No.
Is that a concept?
No.
No, that's very interesting. Here I am, I'm engaged in this thing that we call living, when in actual fact, according to Swami Dayananda, I'm not engaged in living unless I'm alive to what I'm doing. Isn't that interesting? I have to be alive to facts. Now, so what happens is that when we're eating, right? And I want to examine what it means, what eating means, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, eating is not a conceptual idea, is it?
No, I can have lots of concepts about it.
Yes, you can, right? Now, what I want you to, we're going to, and I want the people listening to this, I want you to pretend to eat, right? Like this. For about 20 seconds, what I want you to do is I want you to bring your mind to the actual action of eating, and we're going to do this for 20 seconds. And all you're going to do is you're going to restrict your attention. This is what we mean. You're going to restrict your attention to what you're doing. And what you're doing is your living. Okay? So, you ready? We're going to just do this for 20 minutes. Got it. And I want you to just simply bring your mind and simply bring your mind to that eating. Do you know what I mean? And be present while it's happening. Okay? Now, when you restricted your attention to precisely what you were doing, what happened to all your thoughts about yourself?
They disappear.
Of course they do. Because when you're being alive to facts, when you're actually being alive to what you're doing, what happens is that what is here takes up all the room. In other words, your mind takes the form of what is happening. So your mind is grounded in what is happening. It's being determined. You are alive to facts. The facts, what's the facts? That's the fact. That's the actual activity that you're doing. And you're actually being alive to that fact, aren't you?
Yeah.
Now, what's really interesting here is that, and did you notice that when you're like that, there is a sense of wholeness, isn't there? Of being together.
Yes, there definitely is.
And it's not, this aliveness is not there when you're caught up in yourself.
No.
It's qualitatively different.
Mm.
So on one hand, you have this an experience of yourself that arises out of your concepts, your thoughts about what's happening.
Mm.
And then you've got an experience of yourself, your appreciation of yourself that's grounded in what is happening. It's grounded in being alive to what is happening. Do you see the difference between those two things?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, notice too, all Swami Dayananda did is he used words, and he said he basically conveyed a meaning. See the fact that you are normally being split.
Mm.
Now, but the thing is that, were you thinking of his teaching when you were just, were you thinking about Swami Dayananda?
No.
Were you thinking about the words that he said?
No.
No, because you see, he uses words so that you can see a meaning. And when you see the meaning that he points out, you can always live it. This is the whole point.
Mm.
You see, the Swami Dayananda, he saw Vedanta as a means of knowledge. In other words, it's an instrument. And what he did was he would unfold a meaning which you can see as it exists in your life. Yeah. And then you can live the meaning. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So now tell me something. Could a Christian do this? Could a Christian do this?
I think so.
Yep. Could a Buddhist do it?
I think so.
What about an atheist?
Yes, I think so.
Basically, what he's talking about is something that's a possibility that exists right here, right now, that is universally available to everyone. Now, that relationship of coming alive to facts and living in the world as it is for that brief section of time for 20 minutes when you are chomping, right? Mm-hmm. Was that a result of a religious belief?
No.
What about a psychological theory? Was it a result of that?
No.
Was it a result of spiritual notions?
No.
Now, isn't that interesting?
Mm.
You see, what's important is you know how Swami Dayananda says that Vedanta is you?
Yeah, yeah.
You see, so what it does is that what happens is, in the light of the teaching, I'm appreciating myself in the light of the teaching, aren't I?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In the sense that I'm not thinking about the teaching.
Mm.
I'm living the meaning that he talked about. Is that true?
Yes. I have to, and I only have, I only have a value for it if I see the meaning that I'll be split. If I'm not giving my attention to what I'm doing.
Yes. If I don't see the meaning of what he means, what it means to be together, I can't be together. He says you can only see what you know.
Mm.
So the whole point with Vedanta, first of all, is that we have this two worlds.
Mm.
He calls them two worlds. One world is being full of myself.
Mm. Mm.
This is normal, being full of ourselves.
Mm. Mm.
Now, You're not going to get rid of being full of yourself by reading books, by listening to YouTube videos. None of those things. You see, he says, first of all, we have to have the wisdom. Then he says we must live the wisdom.
And the wisdom is to see the meaning in this particular thing. That
the wisdom is being together while living. The wisdom is when I'm actually when I am being alive to facts, I am living the wisdom. It has nothing to do with concepts, philosophies, or any of this sort of stuff. You see, for Swami Dayananda, Vedanta is a vision in which we live.
So it's not something I say I have. It's silly to use the expression that something I have the wisdom. I have this bringing together of myself as a thinker and myself as a doer at any point. It's more, what am I being at any moment? Am I together as a thinker and doer?
Yeah. Am I being alive to facts? Okay. And the thing is that if my mind goes away from what I am doing, I'm not alive to facts.
No.
I'm caught up in myself. Okay, so this whole idea of being alive to facts is extremely important. Now, you see, and other ways he says this is how you come back to being yourself while living.
So when I go off and not become a thinker and is separate from what I do myself as a doer, there's no point to be upset about that. It's just to bring my mind back to what I'm doing. Yeah,
well, I'm going to go into that. I haven't got into that stage yet, but the main point, you see, the main point is what you're saying is that we need to recognize that the condition we're in. When I heard that and heard him talking about it, I thought, this is me. This is me. Now, I didn't get offended because we're not looking at ourselves in the light of the social think that we live in. You know, when I say that I'm involved with myself, this is not a moral judgment of condemnation. Rather, when he says that we're involved with ourselves, we're caught up in ourselves, this is just simply an unfolding of our existential condition, the condition that we're in life. Okay, he wasn't doing it to judge harshly. You know, have you heard people say, oh, that person's so selfish, or they're so full of themselves, right?
Yeah.
In fact, when a person is judging a person like that, look at them, they're so full of themselves, they're also full of themselves because they're looking at a concept. They're saying that the being of that person is my idea of them. See, being judgmental is a form of subjectivity.
Yes.
Because I'm caught in a notion. I'm looking at another human being in a derogatory way, and I'm feeling rather inflated while I do it. Now, I want to ask you another question. When Swami Dayananda talks about coming into relationship to what is, in which there is absolutely no friction, there's no resistance. In other words, you are being accepting. Is that a belief?
No.
Is it a theory about life?
No.
No, it's an actual way of living, isn't it?
A way of being.
A way of being. And the thing with Swami Dayananda, that was his way of being. He was abiding in this acceptance. He was, in fact, being loving.
mm, mm,
Now, what's interesting in life, what's important is not the religion, not the spiritual theory, not the psychological theory, not the philosophy.
mm-hmm.
The whole point of Vedanta is a way of being in the world while living.
Mm, mm,
And so when I'm being accepting, which is the lifestyle that Swami Dayananda unfolds that comes from the Bhagavad Gita, is first and primary, first a way of living in which I am being accepting, which is the same as being alive to what is. I can't be accepting if I'm not alive to what is. That's ridiculous. And then also a life of Dharma is a life of caring. So the most important thing is not my religious beliefs, what I think about life, my philosophy. The question is my way of being, first of all, loving or being accepting, like he says, and secondly, am I being caring? Am I taking care of myself, other people, and my environment?
Are you being responsive to whatever life situation you face? That's
right, in a caring way, in a non-harmful, beneficially contributive, and non-disturbing way. This is the way of life that he talked about. Now, and he says, if you are not living this way, first of all, you can't understand the teaching.
Yeah.
And you're also not living the wisdom.
No,
you can know. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of consciousness preachers out there, talking about consciousness, you are consciousness, and you're already consciousness. And I mean, the purpose of the statement, you are already consciousness, is not like a conclusion, I'm already consciousness. It's to direct your attention to the fact that right here, right now, as you are, this is the place where the solution is. It's to direct your attention, not to assert and become another form of spiritual self-adornment. Human vanity is very tenacious. You know what I mean? So what we're looking at is living in the world as it is. But we can't live in the world as it is unless we're alive to facts. But more importantly, we can't be alive to facts if we're split. If myself as a doer and myself as a thinker are separate, I am not alive to facts. I'm not living in the world as it is, am I? No. Okay? Now, I want you to notice something else. We're going to do this again. We're going to chomp. Okay? Now, what I want you to notice, first of all, is that when you bring your mind back to the chomping, because this is what you're actually doing, I want you just simply to notice that you become relaxed, that your sense of yourself is relaxed. There's no resistance or tension. You're just involved in the process of living. You're chomping, and while you're chomping, you're present while it's happening. But you're restricting your attention to specifically what you are doing. And in this case, you're chomping. Okay? So I just want you to we're going to do this for 20 seconds. And just again, everything that Swami Dayananda talks about, you can see. You can appreciate. It's not theoretical. Okay? So let's just have a look at it. We're going to look at it just in the light of, as we do it, I just want you to be aware of the sense of absence of resistance, in the sense of just simply the relaxation feeling that goes along when we're being together. And it occurs naturally and spontaneously. It's like, when our traditional teachers say that, fire, to be fire is to be hot. To be together is to be relaxed. Okay, you don't have to make yourself relaxed. Okay, let's just see whether this is true. Okay, start chomping. Now, isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
What did you notice?
I had a few ideas about what I was doing, and that was just distracting. And then just bring my attention to when I just bringing back to what I was doing, chomping. There is a relaxation freedom when I'm just doing what I'm giving my attention to what I'm doing.
When you're together, yes. When you're abiding in the way of being, which he calls together, you cannot help but feel relaxed. It just goes. It just goes with the territory. Does that make sense? It's not like, and also, we're not worried about thoughts and feelings. Okay, like if you want to go west, you don't do it by pushing away the east, do you?
No.
And also, Swami Dayananda has no problem, unlike other spiritual teachers, he's not concerned about thoughts and feelings. It's being the thoughts and feelings that are the problem. It's our sense of being. Does that make sense? So I can be myself in the face of thoughts and feelings. So when I'm doing this, I don't care about thoughts and feelings. Have no interest in thoughts and feelings. My whole interest is what I am being. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
So, and because of that, so what happened is, and my interest here is being together. I'm interested in being together. Okay? Go.
It's interesting when you say that, because when myself as a thinker and myself as a doer together, I have a sense of being and engaged in activity.
Yes.
But when I'm doing something but thinking, I don't have that sense of being.
No, because you're just caught up in yourself. Yes. You're having an experience of yourself that's the basis is conceptual or notional. Yeah. Okay. Now, notice how the second thing I want you to notice, we're going to do some chomping again. And what I want you to notice is that, you know how they talk about that we have to learn to remain the same. That yoga is sameness. Now, normally, our whole psychological life, our life is one of ego inflation and ego deflation. It's having experience of ourselves, right? Where when we think about the past, we think about ourselves as a person who's had good experiences, right? Yeah. In other words, has experience where they felt elated and felt happy. And we think of our past in terms of how we've been unhappy. And then when we think of our future, we think of ourselves as being happy or worried about maybe the fact that we're going to be unhappy. And when we think of the present, we do the same thing. Am I happy? No, I'm a bit miserable. Oh, no, okay. Oh. So we're caught up in this self-involvement. There's no sameness, is there? We become different. We're aware of a thought. Maybe we're trying to be spiritual. We think this mad spiritual delusion that if thoughts recede and disappear, I'm going to come this shining, pristine consciousness. Let's say I'm caught in that stupidity, right?
So in that situation, we think the thoughts are the problem.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that we're caught up in thinking.
Yeah.
All right. So what we want to do, there's no sameness. Because what happens is I have these thoughts and I go, oh, I'm feeling good about myself now. Oh, I'm feeling sad about myself now. I'm constantly chopping and changing depending upon what thoughts and feelings are happening, depending on what people are saying and doing and what the circumstances is. Is that true?
Yeah.
Now, what he says is that the whole purpose of karma yoga is a way of life in which we remain the same in the face of these experiences. But you can't remain the same unless you're together. No. It's just not possible.
No.
Okay? So, you ready? So we're going to chomp again. Go. And just restrict your attention to that and notice how you can remain the same while chomping. Now, can you see, Kevin?
Mm-hmm.
We probably look like bloody idiots on the on YouTube. But anyway, you can see that you remain the same while the chomping is going on, don't you?
Only when I'm giving attention to the chomping.
Yes, that's well, that's implicit. Okay, I'm talking about. Can we stick to this thing? So when I'm chomping,
Yeah.
and my attention on, I'm remaining the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm relaxed and I'm the same.
Yeah.
Now that sameness is what Swami Dayananda means by being secure.
Mm.
You're not being shaken.
Mm.
And you're sorry?
Not being shaken by changing circumstances.
No.
Mm.
Okay, you're involved in living and you're remaining the same.
Mm.
You're not getting caught up in ego inflation or ego deflation.
Mm. Mm.
Now, the head teacher, Swami Atmaprakashananda, said a very interesting thing to me once. He said that, moksha, people may find it very boring.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
They find it very boring.
Mm.
And because you see, first of all, is this exciting? This simply quietly being yourself, relaxed and being the same. Is that exciting?
I wouldn't say exciting, but it's a relief from the other.
Yeah, but I'm saying is there's no dramatic thing here. There's no ego satisfaction in it, is it?
Mm.
There's no applause and there's no booze, is there?
No, but there's not a sense of lack either.
No, I don't go into that. But what I'm saying is, if we're caught up in the pursuit of ego satisfaction, this will be very boring.
Yes.
Because we want something away from ourselves to stimulate ourselves. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and lastly, when we're chomping, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I want you to notice is that we're actually at home with ourselves. Okay? You ready? Go. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see we're just simply being ourselves? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you see that this is all dependent? So what happens is we have this sense of being together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in this togetherness, we're abiding in being alive to facts, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
And in this very aliveness, we find ourselves being relaxed.
Yeah.
Psychologically, we find ourselves being relaxed. We find ourselves being secure. And we find ourselves being at home with ourselves, don't we?
Mm-hmm. By being home, not wanting to be different.
Not wanting to be different, no.
Yeah.
Okay? Not this striving to be, I want to be something different so I can feel good about myself. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, this is what Swami Dayananda means by wisdom. Is that, now this isn't the absolute wisdom, but this is the when he explained in chapter 2 of the last chapter on what a wise person is. A wise person is at home with themselves by virtue of simply what they're being. It's not dependent on external things. So the way they are being, this being free while living, isn't dependent on the presence or absence of thoughts, the presence of absence of what people saying or doing, agreeable or disagreeable, or circumstances. This is what he means by freedom, and this is what he means by wisdom. He doesn't mean wisdom is something that we attain or something. It's not knowing all about Vedanta. It's not being clever and articulate about how we're, consciousness and all of this nonsense. You see, because he's pointing to a fact that right here, right now, as we are, there is a possibility of a way of living in which we are free. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with concept. This is a universal teaching. This applies to every human being. This doesn't require that I know Sanskrit, that I can chant. Does this make sense? This is that's why I consider Swami Dayananda a Jagat Guru. The way he unfolded the vision of reality in the Bhagavad Gita and the way of living that's necessary to live that vision, that's what he was talking about. Now, so what we're looking at here is we're looking at it's fundamental to Vedanta and to Karma Yoga is that we need to live this wisdom. In other words, we need to be together while living. And so, and you'll notice this quite clearly. When you walk down the road, now, when you walk down the road, notice that the chomping, the feeling of eating is a feeling, isn't it? It's a sensation of eating. So it's a sensation. Is that true?
Yep, it's available.
So every action you are doing is a sensation, isn't it? That you can appreciate. Is that right?
Yeah, when I'm conscious, my senses are working.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. But you see what I'm saying is that when I'm doing this, it's not an idea. It's a sensation that I'm appreciating. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, am I always doing something?
Yeah.
Right. So, in other words, is that I might have an idea of what I'm doing. I'm walking now, right? But having the idea I'm walking now is a label, isn't it? It's a conceptual idea of walking, right?
Yeah.
But there's the actual sensation of walking, isn't there?
Yeah.
Now, when you are walking down when you're drinking that cup, you grab the cup.
Yep.
There's a sensation of that action, isn't there?
Yep.
Of what you're doing. When you're walking, when you're sitting, when you're lying down. When I was lying in bed this morning, just simply lying in bed, there is a sensation of actually that action, isn't there? Now, when I restrict my attention, and I do, and this is my primary practice, I understand. When I put my hand up, when Swami Dayananda says that you're living in your own world and you're caught up and enclosed, I think, yep, that's me. Okay. The thing is that when you restrict your attention to precisely what you're doing, and so that you're aware that you're actually appreciating what you're doing, you're restricting it so that you as a thinker and you as a bed, so here you are, you're lying in bed, and you're just simply aware of the sensation of lying in bed. Does that make sense? The fact of lying in bed, not the idea, the fact of lying in bed. You're alive to facts. This is what you're doing. This is an extremely important discipline because what happens is if you're upset, let's say you're upset, okay, just sit down somewhere. I'm upset. Okay, just sit down and just simply bring your attention to precisely what you're doing. Does that make sense? And what happens is all of the thoughts and the reactions, being caught up in thinking disappears, because what happens is your mind has taken the form of what is here. Normally our mind takes the form of our thoughts and about what's here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's extremely important that we live the truth in that sense. Does that make sense? There was a Catholic philosopher by the name of St. Thomas Aquinas. He said, truth is conformity of mind with thing. So the mind takes on the same form as what's here.
mm, mm,
When we're being subjective, we're caught up in ourselves.
mm.
So we
It's
have to commit to being alive to facts. That means that we have to knowingly bring our abide in being together. And that is only accomplished right here, right now, when I restrict my attention to what I'm doing.
Mm, mm.
And then I'm actually involved in living.
Mm, mm.
You're going to say something?
Oh, it's only then that I have a learning mind, that I'm available to
Yes.
see, to understand things freshly.
Yes.
Really, rather than have lots of concepts about things. And it also highlights how much time I spend thinking about how I can feel better, as opposed to, which will never work, because thinking isn't for that. Because I'm either being, I'd have to come to being, don't I?
Well, I've just got to come back to what I'm doing. You see, I've got to bring myself together. Then that's the basis. I can't. It's only when I'm alive to facts am I available to learn anything. And so the whole practice of karma yoga is the practice of living. You see, the means is the end. Do you know what I mean? In the sense that it's only by living do I live. But what Swami Dayananda is pointing to is that unless you are right here, right now, as you are, alive to facts, you're living in your own world. And we need to establish this being alive to facts as a lifestyle, as a way of living in the world. And you see, and in the light of the teaching that everything here is the presence of God, when we're living in the world as it is, we're living in God, as far as Swami Dayananda is concerned. That's what gives it its importance and its value. But the thing is, this isn't a think process. As soon as I bring my attention back to what I'm actually doing, the feel of what I'm doing, it's a feeling, it's a sensation. And my mind is occupied with that sensation. I find my whole senses open up. You know, you hear sounds, you see things clearer, everything like that. But you're not trying to be aware. You don't need to try to be aware. And this is where it's different from mindfulness. I'm not trying to be mindful. I understand what it means to be together, and then I live that way of being. And I establish myself in it more and more. And so during the day, what I do is I just keep on coming back to precisely what I'm doing. And not the idea of what I'm doing. And you can always know, when you as a thinker and you as a doer come together. It's like when you're tromping. There's the actual, you're alive to the sensation of that doing, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with theory. But this is the very basis. This is the starting point of Vedanta, in the sense that you can't possibly. The fact is that we're normally not living in the world as it is, and when you start to engage in this practice, believe me, you'll know that really clearly. all your spiritual pretensions will go away. I may know in my mind I am consciousness, but that doesn't mean to say that I'm conscious. That I'm being conscious. You see, that's delusional. You see, self-mastery is being able to remain the same in the face of my daily experiences. Now, knowing all about karma yoga is nothing. But being able to remain the same, relaxed, secure, and at home with myself in the face of changing experiences in my life and grounding myself in it. That's what the whole game is.
And that is the meaning of karma
yoga.
That
is the meaning of karma yoga, yes. Here we are, is that we are receiving what is happening, but we're remaining the same. We're remaining together in the face of it. And we're also responding to what is happening according to the three principles that Swami Dayananda outlines. We're not being harmful. We're being a contributor. We're bringing the value that's needed, and we're not being disturbing. Now, is this an easy lifestyle to adopt? Is it easy to adopt it? No. Self-mastery is not, it comes through practice. It's not, it just because I know the theory, that is a modern Vedantic delusion. And these consciousness preachers, the modern versions of it, the thing is that Vedanta is a vision in which we abide. It's a vision we live. Does that make sense? And try it out. Whenever you remember, bring your attention back to precisely